Hello. Toby. Hi.
Hi! We're really doing it.
We're here.
Oh my
We're
God, this
here.
is so exciting.
Camera. I love this, like the way that this is formatted. I thought we would be side to side.
Me too. I thought I would be side by side too, but this is great. I love it. You're so pretty.
You're so pretty.
This is really exciting. I've been so nervous. I had like a minor panic attack this morning. Poor AJ. Had to
I
deal with that
figured
shit.
I figured that you were nervous. I feel a little, I mean, you know me, I'm super comfortable doing videos, but
Yeah, I
I'm a
would.
little bit nervous and I think it's just because of our subject. Like when you do anything that's not like of the norm or that people don't know about,
Yeah, so
that they don't know you for. I think everybody in my life right now that are closest to me know me, you as well. But it's like the people that have maybe drifted away a little bit that are going to be like, what?
what is Iggy doing?
But do we give fucks? No, we don't give
We
fucks.
don't give fucks. That's our motto.
So I'm
Yeah,
just going
no,
to,
I was teaching my children recently that physiologically, fear and excitement are the exact same thing in the body. It's
yes,
sweating, it's, raised blood pressure, all the things. And so just the thoughts behind the body feelings are what I'm trying to manage. And so we're turning this shit into excitement. I'm just excited to be here. Super
yes,
duper excited to be here and to be sharing our beautiful sisterhood with the world is like something that is a true blessing in my life because I've wanted to do this for so long. So here we
yes.
are.
Here we
Who
are.
cares if we fail? We're here.
We don't fail.
That's
We
right.
don't fail.
And when it comes to this video stuff, like this is maybe my second time ever going live on anything because I do remember doing it once on Facebook and it sucked. It was just like so scary for me. And then I
It is.
never did it again. So I'm leaning on your strength and I feel like after the first one, I'll be fine. I mean, I'm fine now, but it's been a roller coaster getting to this little spot live on Instagram.
It is. I was just telling Brian that even though like I'm comfortable being in front of the camera, like bare face, full face of makeup, like whatever it is, it's never bothered me. But this time, because I think even though I'm typically always who I am, this is a little bit more vulnerable because we're going to be telling stories about ourselves, things that we've experienced. And although I could give two shits about people's opinion about it, I just don't, I get nervous that, um, social media is a platform for bullies to talk a lot of shit. And I am reactive like a motherfucker. So I'll be on there be like,
We're working
what
on
did
it.
you say? Where do you live?
Yeah, well, these are the most sacred and special parts of me that I have a desire to share. I will totally get emotional a lot because these are the most private, precious things in my spiritual world other than my family and my relationships. And so I feel like it is a completely different experience because it's the same thing as writing a book. Writing this book has been the same way because it's like putting my heart and soul out to the entire world, the most sacred experiences of my life, my trauma, my triumphs. It's a lot. And so, but there have been so many signs. And one of them yesterday, when we were driving to school, Jonah asked me, because I pointed out 444 in my mileage. He's like, who's
Yeah.
444? I was like, well, and I told him the story about how when I was going to see you and I had no idea your numbers, I kept seeing 444, 444, and I'm like, what the hell? Yay! And
Yeah.
so guess what? As I'm telling Jonah this story, a license plate drives right by us, 444. I was like, thank you! This
Oh
is
my
the
gosh.
magic we are living in. I
It
just
is.
love the numbers.
If we can pay attention, if we can quiet our minds and just see the world for what it is, the signs are always there.
It's
Always.
magic everywhere, everything. But we have to get quiet enough to hear it.
Absolutely. So where do you want to start? Do you want to explain like exactly what we're wanting to do? We're Where do you want to start?
I think maybe we could start with our story together, how we met, and then maybe our how we got here,
Yeah.
to this
So
moment in the now.
how about we start with how we met? Because I think that is a root
Yes.
of how we got to where we are right now. I think the people that we knew that we met all at the same time, if they were to see us now, we're so completely different.
Oh my God, that's a funny
But
thought.
the seed of how we met is so interesting because we both have such deep roots in religion.
Deep roots.
Very deep. But deep roots of different trees in religion. So for us to, I guess, start from the very beginning, it would just be finding a local church to feel connected to something, right?
Yes, I had just barely left the Mormon religion. And up until that point, I was the most devout Mormon that I had ever met. I had never worn a tank top in my life. I had never watched a rated R movie in my life. I had never said fuck in my life. I had not come to terms with my sexuality. There were so many parts of myself that were total. I didn't even have really an identity other than my role as mother. I had just left my marriage as well. So I think I might have still been in my marriage for like a month when I met you, but everything,
Maybe
my
not
life
even a
was
month.
blowing up when I met this woman, and she was a literal godsend, and we met in church. So I took my kids to what is it called? Born again Christian, or I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
One of those non-denominational Christian churches. And because I needed a transition out of Mormonhood, like I was really missing church, but trying to do what I felt was right for my family and following my heart. And so this beautiful woman was there. She was already part of the congregation.
So the way I came about this church was really out of a need for, is it like real what everybody keeps saying? Like, do I need to be in a building? Do I need to be in a church to achieve what I want in my life? So me and Brian had been married for a while already. I want to say maybe 7 years, maybe less. And we decided to try and have a baby.
Yeah.
And because of my past and decisions I made, the right decisions that I had made at the time for the period in my life, we were struggling. We had to come up with a significant amount of money for that point in our life. Now it's kind of like, oh, that's breezy. But at that point, so early in the marriage, so young, having 3 children already, I needed somewhere where I could give all the fear to other people and then have like a sense of community, because unlike you, I was not raised Mormon. I was raised in a plethora of religions. And I've told people this before, but I don't think I've ever said it so publicly, where people in my life, family, will we've never really said it out loud. So I think that's why I might be a little bit nervous, but we were part of a cult, growing up. I watched this religion tear my family up. So I wanted a small community where people that I felt like I could trust. I joined this little church. I started showing up. I don't think I had been there very long before you walked in to the church. I really think we were within a few weeks of each other.
Oh, wow. We really never talked about that. I just figured you'd been there a long time.
No, I actually didn't even start connecting with the other women in the church until you joined.
Wow.
Because I didn't feel that soul connection with the people of the church. Now, at the time when we both joined, we had the pastor and his wife, which I still love to this day.
Right.
I think they're amazing people.
Yes, I
Um,
in touch with them as well.
really did make a difference for me at that time.
Yeah.
But then the world started changing and different things started happening around us in our neighborhoods, in our lives. And I think we both made the decision pretty significantly close to each other of this is not for us.
Yeah.
For me personally, this was there was two issues that came up for me where I actually let go of the need of religion, the precedence of, yes, you have to be devout and you have to follow these rules and you have to give this of yourself in order to get this. It didn't make sense to me anymore because, like I said, I was trying to have the baby. I had made some beautiful friends there. You, number one, but then a lot of other women that I felt like I could connect to, women that were married to LDS men, or former LDS men. So we did connect on a very deep level because I didn't understand the LDS lifestyle for the most part back then.
Yeah.
Just the rumors and whatnot. But I was trying so hard to achieve something to create this child for my husband and myself, and then went to church looking for that like group, that support, and was told in, I think they would call it now, if they would call it like the furnace, you would show up before church to pray. And I was told, you don't show up when you need something. You show up all the time. And I was just like, excuse me? You know, and it wasn't said directly to me. It was said in a group when somebody was praying, they made the statement. And I kind of was just like, well, I'm the only new person here. Okay, strike one. I'm good. Like, you were supposed to be a friend of mine, somebody that I could trust. I came here with a real fear and looking for that support, for that guidance from, God, and was shot down immediately. And lost the baby that I was there to pray for. Like, lost the baby within days and devastated because of the way we lost the baby. And the second, within a couple of weeks of that, I don't know if you remember, but Jacob's little friend succumbed to suicide. She was transgender.
It was in our neighborhood.
Yeah, she was. She lived right around the corner from us, and she was only 15, and the leadership had changed in the church, which had already made us kind of uneasy. It started it was almost like it was just universe. Like, listen, Ingrid, listen what's happening here. And there was a day in church where they had made a statement, about how the way that she had killed herself, the reason that she had killed herself, like how it went against God or the belief system. And I was like, we're out. Like, that was my son's best friend. That was a child who was just looking for help. And yeah, did she go about it the wrong way? Absolutely. But she didn't know any better. She was a child. So to see a religion, a faith, a group of faithful people turn against a child that way because of how she felt, we never went back. It was kind of just like, we're out. And then all of these women that I had connected to, I was nothing. There was no support anymore. There was no communication. It was just, you made a decision that was against us. You don't agree with us. You don't believe what we believe, because otherwise you would accept this as truth. And I lost a dozen friends that day, but I kept the most important one.
Girl,
So
we're
that's
just getting started.
yeah, that's kind of just like how that church, I think, molded our friendship. I think.
It did,
Tell
because we
me.
were both just seeking something. It was like we were spiritual beings, but our spiritual past had failed us, and we were trying to figure out, where is my truth? And I really did feel spiritually lost for a long time. It's like, when I gave up religion, I did not know how to separate spirituality and religion, and so I felt like I was choosing, because I couldn't stand religion, I was choosing to give up both. And I had always been such a a spiritual person. I was not even connected to nature at all when this awakening started happening. I was completely in a different world. I owned a skincare company. I was had long flowing hair, and my husband and I, AJ, were on a date in 2020, June 7th of 2020, during COVID, sitting under some trees, eating True Burger, COVID date, because all of the restaurants were closed. And so we're just sitting there, and I was pulled into a trance state. Everyone always asks, were you on anything? No, totally sober. But until this one moment where I went into a series of visions, and it's an incredibly sacred experience that totally changed the entire course of my life. And the trees were a huge part of that. The spirit came through the trees with a powerful, powerful message. And for 90 minutes, I was in vision. And AJ says, my voice changed, the way I looked, my face completely changed, all of this stuff. And I was totally shaken by the experience. It freaked me out. I was like, we're going home, and I'm Googling, like, can trees talk? And yes, trees can talk. I know that now, but
yes, they can.
Like, what, from that separation from my spirituality and just longing for years, and then to just be unsuspecting. The only thing that I had done to prepare for that experience was developed a meditation practice, but my meditation practice, the intention was to help me be a more productive business owner, help me be a more productive mom, productive, and the first words of the trees were, slow down and be quiet. And it was very clear. And I need to tattoo that on my goddamn forehead, because I'm still working on it. But, they tell me I'm going to write a book, and I'm like, I have to get this book done in 6 months. They're like, slow down and be quiet,
Yeah.
And so I have kind of gone into a personal, almost like a cocoon. I haven't been on social a lot. I have been really having some absolutely mind-blowing, magical, spiritual experiences that are shaping the purpose of my life, and unbeknownst to me during all of this, because we did not talk a lot until we connected again through spirituality. We have always been so deeply soul connected that every time we do connect, it's like it was yesterday the last time we talked. It's so easy and so natural. We're literally soul sisters, but we hadn't shared our spiritual journeys at all. And so I was driving to Utah. I live in Phoenix, and I had brought a crystal quartz for Iggy, and I held it to my heart center the entire drive, and the entire way I kept seeing 444, 444. Who is that? Who is that? What is up with 444? I didn't know anybody who was fours. And within a few minutes of seeing you at your home in Utah, you told me that you were on a spiritual path and that your numbers were 4. And I just started crying. I was so overwhelmed with the synchronicities and the magic of it all. And ever since then, we have been sharing, and I'm so excited to be sharing these conversations about our experiences with whoever wants to join.
So I want to share one little, my favorite part of that story is we were sitting in my room. We had just moved into this house, so it was pretty empty, but when we had connected and you were coming out here, and I was like, you're going to stay here. I was like, Brian, we need a bed, we need a mattress, we need to have a room.
Oh my God, I didn't know you went to all the trouble.
I was like, I don't care how basic it is. I have to have a place for Tobi to be here. It felt.
I would have slept on your goddamn floor.
I know. You would have slept in my bed. Like, I had that huge bed. I was by myself.
Big spoon.
But I was like, there was like this weird urgency about making sure I had a place for you here.
Wow.
And you come, it's pretty late. And we stay up way later than we're supposed to. And I remember you looked a little bit nervous to say something. And you said, I brought you something, but I don't want you to think I'm weird. And I said, well, what is it? And you pulled this crystal out. You pull it out of your shirt, and I'm just like, oh, what? And remember, I was like, hold on. And I went underneath my bed, and I pulled out the box of all of the crystals that I was collecting. And that's where it was like a light bulb, like, oh my God, we're on the same path, but so different at the same time, because the way you came to it is, I'm so envious of it, because it was like just like a real moment of, hey, it's your turn, like, hey, listen to me.
Yeah.
For me, it's been my whole life. I have and I'm going to be very mindful of my words, because I don't want to ever offend, but my mother is one of the most powerful people that I know. And I believe that your mother is the same.
Yeah.
But my mom had this plethora of beliefs. So I think I just told you the story recently that we would go to the beach and see a little animal, and my mom would be like, talk to them in your mind and they'll come out of their hole. And we would be just there, little kids, being like, come here, little, in our head, like, come here, buddy. I'm
Aww.
not going to hurt you, but not using any vocal words, and getting this moment of aha when the little gopher would come out of the hole and be like, here
Wow.
I am, and we'd be like, we're psychic, we're children. Um,
Practicing. That's so
yeah.
cool.
And then our whole life just being, you know, we lived in Montana for a short period of time. So the belief in aliens is a very strong belief for me. I've seen things, you've seen things, um, but which we didn't understand that much. I mean, we understood it, I
No.
think, deeply, but not here.
No, they were
And
overwhelming.
yeah, and then my mom, was into astrology, and I have her astrology book, like the original book. This book is over 20 years old. Um, so I had this foundation of spirituality that was being corrupted by religious beliefs. And I had to fight my way. So the way that I started this journey was after I left that little church, there was no religion for me. Like, not even really a real belief in God for me at that moment, because I had suffered such a terrible loss for my own soul that I could not cope with. And it was told to me at that time, this is your fault, because you had told God for so many years that you didn't want children anymore. Like, you were done having children. You physically tied your tubes. This is your fault. And that devastated me. What if that was real? What if what I had voiced as a naive child, because I was only 23, um, was my fault? And there is somebody up there listening and he's punishing me. And then the other side of it, that really soft voice deep in my soul was like, no, you can control this. You are powerful. You can do this. And I changed the way that I looked at the world. I changed my faith-based mentality. And I decided that I wouldn't believe in anything except for what I could do with my hands. And what can I do with my hands? I can grow things. I can create things. I can do things for myself. And I went on this journey of research, taking science, like actual science, tangible science, and the knowledge that I had of myself, put it together, and I got Little Miss Piper May. I created that. So when everybody's like, oh my God,
Hey,
God blessed you.
Piper.
Like, God blessed you with that child. No, the fuck he did not. I blessed myself with that child. I created the environment for that soul to enter my body. And ever since then, it's been kind of in the background. And then my son, Jacob, leaves for college. And I was fucked up. I was devastated, happy for him and excited for him and proud for him. But as a mother, and being a mother for more than half of my life, Jacob, I had Jacob when I was 16, 17. He was my anchor in this world. He is the whole reason why I'm even breathing today. And he left to live his life, and I couldn't cope. I couldn't cope. I didn't know what to do. So I started looking into meditation. And I feel like my meditation was so much stronger back then. Like,
Gosh, it comes and goes
so
like it really
clear.
does. It's a practice.
Like, and I had all of these like moments, and I was at the beginning of that journey and understanding things from my whole life that have come into fruition, or gifts that I've always had and I started listening to. And then you came out and we walked up to that tree, and you laid me on the dirt because I am a earth being. I come from this soil. I'm most comfortable outside, and we had that experience together, and that opened up so much more for me. So I was very topical at the time, looking for things on social media instead of looking within myself, and having you come out and speak to that tree for me, to connect me to that tree, with your gifts. And then for you to be with me at a very low part in my life, because it wasn't just that my son had left. I was struggling with my husband. We were both struggling. We had just moved back here. So much life going on around us. You grounded me right back to the dirt in such a beautiful way. And I think that's when our soul family was like, finally, they've done it. Like, finally, they see the bigger picture here. And I think since that moment, we both kind of just have skyrocketed into these experiences that are forming not just who we truly are now, but not healing not just ourselves, but our lineage, healing our children. And this adventure that we're embarking on is going to just, I don't know, it feels so powerful inside. Like, it feels energetic and like electricity, because we have so unique stories but similar. I just feel like if people tune in just to listen to what we have to say from real people that struggle with spirituality in general, believing what we're seeing, believing in ourselves, I think that we could teach a lot of people how to just shut the fuck up and listen.
Slow down and be quiet. I love that
Yeah,
tree so much. I hope that it never gets torn down. It's such a beautiful tree.
I
So
know.
that experience was magical. I want to say too that my spiritual upbringing, I'm very grateful for in a lot of ways. Like, I honor my past. I had to go through a period of anger toward Mormonism. I think everyone, when you leave a religion, you have to go through a grieving period, and that includes anger and denial and all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can look back at my past and see the beauty in it all. And I'm so grateful that I was raised in an environment, at least, that cultivated spirituality, that told me, you can seek direct revelation for yourself. And so my entire life and my childhood was very tumultuous, especially up until the age of 8. It was extremely scary, and there was a lot of trauma there. And so that, Mormonism was the only or the most stable home I had. And so I honor my past for that. I don't want to, talk too much shit about Mormonism, although they fucked me up pretty good. I also honor them.
Right. And I
not
think,
the institution, but my
right.
personal spiritual experience. I have very little honor for the institution, to be honest. I think that religion, there's just too much trouble there. But I do think that it was a safe place in a lot of ways for me to develop spiritually. And then I outgrew it.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. Like, I had experienced every other religion in my life, from being in a cult that took the best parts of all religions, with the exception, and we've talked about this before, with the exception of the Mormon church, because that was a cult.
Yeah.
That's what we were raised.
They wouldn't.
So very, very, gaslit, I guess, because that's the new term that everybody uses, but they were gaslighting you. But to being part of a Catholic church, to non-denominational, to you know, like a basic Christian church, all kinds of different religion that I got to experience that was within my reach, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I couldn't be in a Buddhist temple because I wasn't, you know, I'm not Buddhist, but a very, very strong understanding of these religions because of this cult that we were in. Um, we learned about, you know, elementals and fairies and spirit and saints and
Oh,
but
wow.
outside of how like the Catholic Church teaches saints, you know? Um, so when I started this journey and we got into like seeking out energy healing, I don't know if I ever told you this, and this is kind of an interesting story. I went to this local lady here in Utah, beautiful lady, very powerful. But when I walked down into her basement, into her studio, because she teaches energy healing, but I was there to have my very first Reiki session, I see her altar, which the word altar triggers me because we had altars growing up in our home, and this is what destroyed my mother's marriage.
Mm.
And then on that altar, she had the I am chart, which, if you don't know what that is, look it up. Toby, I think I've sent it to you. If I haven't, I
Yeah,
will.
I think you've shown me a lot of the stuff that was on
Yeah,
that altar in your original.
yes. The pictures of Saint Germain and the pictures of Almoria were on her altar. And I immediately get on camera with my sisters, like, what the fuck did I do? How did I
What
get
am I
here?
doing?
How did they find me? And then I meet this woman and I am very connected to her. Like, I'm like, she's looking at me like, do I know you? And I'm like, do I know you? Like, no, I don't want to be like, were you part of this? You know, because I
Right.
was a child. I was a child. We left, which is so interesting because I didn't really even think about it. I think I was 8
Oh, wow.
when we moved from Montana. And that's kind of what broke that connection to this cult. But anyways, I was very like, oh my God, like, what have I done? Like, what is this? So, in Iggy fashion, I started talking a lot of shit to my sisters about it. Like, what the fuck? And we just kind of started rambling about our childhood. But when I really sat down to think about it, it was so familiar to me that it felt like, okay, well, I need to do research as an adult, as a able minded person that can make a decision for myself, that
Right.
somebody is not forcing me to believe in this.
Sure.
And let's do the research behind it so that I know where the idea of this like belief system in Saint Germain and Archangel Michael and El Moria and all of these things. And now, what are we, like 2 to 3 years into this? I think I have a strong understanding, like as an adult, and something that fits with me, which can be completely different from the person sitting next to me. And I've come to the understanding that that's okay
Those
because we're not all
triggers
the
teach
same.
us a lot. Like when you notice that trigger and then you walk through it and then you recognize like, oh, I can treat this differently,
Yeah,
then resistance is what makes life hard. It's like
absolutely.
if you walk in and see those things, it could be just a synchronicity letting you know that, this is,
You're in the right place.
you recognize this or whatever
Right.
it is, and in my upbringing, I had, no saints, no crystals,
No magic.
healing, energy, magic. I wasn't allowed to watch My Little Pony when I was a little girl because my mom said that's magic. Horses can't fly.
No
It
Care
was
Bears.
no Care Bears, no Teddy
What?
Ruxpin because bears don't talk.
Oh
I
my
had no
God, we had a
imagination.
Teddy Ruxpin.
And when this all started happening, I had never seen any fantasy movies because I just, number one, I never saw a rated R movie until I was like 28 years old. And
Yeah.
then also I just didn't have an imagination. I wasn't read to a lot as a child. I didn't read a lot. I was scared of any bad guy in any movie, at Disney movie. So I avoided a lot of that. I was so sensitive. And so crystals and tarot cards and pendulums and even like using stones for healing. This was all, I had a total aversion to it. Hello, mine's right here. A complete aversion to it. And I feel like I'm still such a baby. I feel so inadequate in so many ways because it's like these guides want me to do shit and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I don't know what crystal is what, and I've had to work with my own fear, just like with Saint Germain and all
Hmm.
of those. It was like all of these tools, and they are just external. You have to do the inner work so that these
Hmm.
external things can just be an extension of the inner work you're doing.
Hmm.
You know, a lot of people in the spiritual world, and this is something that this is a reason why I avoid a lot of social media in the spiritual world, is because I feel like so much of it is focused on the external, and that's the easy way. And it really is very superficial. And it's honestly just another religion when you're doing it that way. If you have to turn inside, and then these beautiful tools that the earth provides are an extension of our energy. It's such beautiful
Absolutely.
work, but I had to get rid of a lot of aversions in my programming as well.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I think bringing up what spirituality looks like on social media right now, because I am very connected to social media. I love the idea of connecting with the people that are already part of my life and connecting with people that I've never met. Like I just love that idea, and having family all over the world because of my background, because of the heritage that I was born into. You know, social media is an awesome tool, but what you're seeing right now, and people will probably come for my throat by saying this, which it's right here. So take your shot. Um,
My badass bestie Iggy.
it's like this incredible line of bullshit that people are being fed, where they, and I don't have any down here because they're all put away, where somebody gets a deck of cards and they're just like, yeah, pay me to do this. And I'm going to tell you something that is so vague. Um, and these people are look like they're searching for this answer, and the answer that that they're getting from these people, it's so vague, and it's like nobody is stopping and saying, hey, if you just
Turn
quiet
inward.
your mind and close your eyes and listen, your answer is already there. And that's a really hard lesson for a lot of us to learn. Having this human experience is, we've been so programmed to look for answers elsewhere, to
Yeah.
look to the strongest person you know, which typically ends up being a man. And as women, this is a woman's perspective. So don't come for my thought about that either. But, you know, to have to look at this, you know, being that doesn't know shit, because we don't know shit off the top of our head, and trust that, and then see all of these people online, and not everybody, because I have come across some very powerful, authentic,
Yes.
spiritual people online
Mm-hmm.
that are showing up as themselves, right? But there's still that little part that's showing up on social media where we're in this box, and it's like, you know, like if you see what's behind me and you're like, oh, okay, she's super spiritual, but you don't get to see everything behind my phone,
Right.
behind my setup. Like, you don't know that I have three different freaking feather wands thrown on the floor with a dirty paper towel, or that my dog is laying over here, or that the way that I have this set up is just a mess.
Right.
Um, you're not seeing that part, the realness of, or the ugliness of spirituality, the hard part of actually looking in a mirror and seeing both sides of yourself, not just like, well, I'm learning, and I am so good, and listen, just listen to this
And light,
crystal, you
light,
know what I mean?
light.
Right, light, like, guess what? No, we are broken individuals, two halves, right? Two halves that have to come together to become one whole thing. And I think there's been only a few people that I've come across on social media that are talking about the ugly side of spirituality, the hard side, the deep dive into your soul, to understand why you've made decisions you've made, to look at your actual trauma, and to understand that it is not just buying some crystals, burning some sage or some incense or whatever you're called to, and boom. you're a spiritual person and you can help the world.
It
It's
is messy.
understanding that we don't just have to heal ourselves and do
No,
that work, but we have to forgive ourselves for the
so hard.
decisions that we've made and the decisions that we didn't make. You know, we have to forgive ourselves for blaming ourselves for the things that have happened to us in our lives, and really look at every situation without the victim sunglasses on,
Sure.
to accept our part in it. And I think that spirituality on social media has become very like cliche in the gimmicks of spirituality, the, you know, and then there's like this clash of cultures, and this witch saying that and that witch saying this, and I'm right and you're wrong. That's religion. No, thank you. Like, no, thank you. I don't need anybody to tell me what's right and what's wrong, because what's right for me is right for me, and what's right for you is right for you. And spirituality comes from way deep down in here, and listening to everything around us and understanding, whether you call it God or whatever, universe, divine energy, whatever it is. For me, it's, depending on my mood, it's divine energy or universe. You won't hear me pray to God. That's not something that I believe in anymore. But do I believe that there's a higher power? Absolutely. And that's okay. And if the person next to me is like, well, you're wrong because there is a God, great. That is what you need to, that is what you've connected to. I don't connect to that. And I never connected to that since I was very young. But I do connect to knowing that I can sit within myself and know, ask for the answers and listen. And it comes. And that is the same idea. That is where the idea of prayer comes from. Speaking out loud to nothingness, to your mind, and listening for the answer. If you listen hard enough, you'll recognize the voice as yourself. Listening and having that just kind of pass through you. So I know a lot of people are not going to agree with that part of it, and that's okay, because that's what's true for me. And that's why I
That's
think,
the thing. That's the thing, is that the spirituality is so individual, and that is the beauty of spirituality versus religion. Is my role, my job, my purpose, part of my purpose in this life is to help people literally come home to themselves,
mm-hmm,
to tune into their own inner voice, to
mm-hmm,
tune in. You have to tune in. And so I think that we all want to seek all these external answers, and social media makes it feel like that's right within your reach. But the reality is, spirituality, real spirituality, is really freaking messy. It's really, it forces you to break down all of the pieces of who you thought you were.
yep,
All of it, because you
mm-hmm,
are a result of programming, you
yep,
know. And so it forces you to break down all the pieces, and then intentionally pick up the ones that you would like to keep and leave
mm-hmm,
the other ones. And so you have to really make peace with a lot in your past. You have to go back and find every single blockage that is keeping you from being your full, highest, most wonderful, happy self, you know?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
for me, I feel like I didn't even recognize the lack of peace within me until all of this started happening, and I started seeing with new eyes, started seeing the programming all around me, and it started to make me kind of just like retreat, like, I don't know if I want to be around all of this, you know? And
Mm-hmm,
so I've had to kind of go into a space where I have to break down all of those pieces. I've been for 2.5 years figuring out, who the fuck am I after all
mm-hmm,
of this, and what is this all, and what is
mm-hmm,
happening. And what I found so profoundly beautiful is that every single bit of healing I do as a mother of 7 children is healing toward my children as well, and to my family. It's like, what I've learned in religion was that I'm supposed to be the giving tree, that I give of myself and I give of myself and I give of myself. And the book says, and the tree was happy. And I that's very true. Like, there is a way to go about life where you're just giving, and that is whatever, that's one choice. And if you want to live that way, that's okay. But what I have found and what the trees have shown me is you can be so much more productive as the living tree. They're like, not the giving tree, the living tree. Like,
Yeah.
you set boundaries and you care for yourself so that you can be the most fruitful, healthy tree and keep giving and giving and giving instead of ending up being a stump. And so this practice for me has been learning how to be a tree that has deep roots, that no matter
Mm-hmm.
what storm comes, I can sway with it and take
Mm-hmm.
all that I need with it, get the moisture, get the nutrition, whatever comes from the storm, and leave the rest. Let it pass through and not get stuck on it is what I'm learning. And it is quite the journey. It has been so much more difficult than I could have ever imagined, but so beautiful and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh my God, the whole
Yeah.
world is just opening up and it's incredible. One major thing that really opened and broke me apart was ayahuasca and that
Yeah.
experience. And since that, I mean, nothing is the same in your life once you open up these crazy portals into the spiritual world.
Absolutely.
And while it's difficult, the difficulty is reciprocal to the joy. It truly is like such a wild pendulum of
It really is.
healing. It's
The
crazy.
word, I always describe ayahuasca and the experience, the most horrific, terrible, magical,
Oh
life-changing
Lord.
experience I've ever had. Because the only way I can explain my experience with ayahuasca, because again, me and you had very different experiences,
Yeah,
um, which we have different experiences with everything that we are called to,
I
which
know.
is
We're
so
yin and
beautiful. And I love that. And that is what cultivated that like mindset of that we don't have to be the same to be on the same journey. We're gonna end up exactly where we are. But all I can say, it's like magic. It's like real magic. It's not a trick. It's not anything other than connecting to the energy of this earth that we have a soul contract to be on. Like we had the free will to come to this planet, um, and decide to live here. And that's something that I was always raised with the idea. It was always like heaven. You were in heaven and you chose your parents and you knew what your life was going to entail. And you signed the contract to come into this world through the vessel of your mother, um, and live this life. So no matter how hard it is, somewhere inside of you, you already know where it's going. You already know the answer. It's there if you listen. Um, and then fast forward to, adulthood and connecting to culturally where I come from, right? So since the beginning of my journey, which is so opposite of your journey, I have been very connected to the earth and to my ancestors in this lifetime's lineage. And no matter how far I go back, no matter what journeys I take, no matter what plant medicine is introducing me to something new, it always is
earth.
very, yeah, it's always earth. It's always, native. It's always very like, these are your people. Like you are a person cultivated from the soil. And understanding that using plant medicine, the only way I can describe that is magic, because it puts you in this state of just, you don't have a choice but to listen. And if you listen, and I don't know for you, but I've heard from many people that have done ayahuasca now, you can hear the voice of the energy of this plant or
Oh my
of this
gosh,
earth.
yes.
I've had moments and experience of actually hearing what I can only describe as the heartbeat of the earth and feeling at home, where some people hear, and there's so many subjects to go over, so I'm so excited for us to be doing this. Like some people hear light language and that they feel home there. Some people see different things and they feel home there, where you look up in the sky, and like we've talked about that, like you're so connected to the sun, I'm so connected to the moon. But to hear the earth and to sit in the dirt with my feet in the dirt or have my hands in the dirt or growing something in the dirt, that's home for me.
Yeah.
And then using all of those beautiful resources to create, whether it's a meal or a resource for somebody else, that is joy for me. So for me, like you were saying, like we have to be living trees, not a giving tree, in order for us to give anything of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. And that's been lost in translation for such a long time that people are forgetting that. I mean, it's a big controversy, but it's like the fact is you can't give from an empty cup. So stop forcing this
Exactly.
generation after generation after generation to give everything until they die an untimely death, not accomplishing anything or knowing anything, because then the cycle repeats itself, which is another subject because you have to believe in like return of karma or reincarnation or all that stuff to understand that we're never going to get out of this until we accomplish what we came here to accomplish. And that's for everybody, religion, non-religion, everybody. We will keep repeating the same mistakes and our children will reap those consequences until we break that cycle. So I feel like, and I think you're very similar, we rather do the work. We rather go through the trenches. We rather be down and dirty and experiencing the deepest, ugliest moments of creation so that our children have the benefit of that, you
Yeah,
know?
I really feel like, you know, one person when I left the Mormon church said to me, "You are dishonoring your pioneer heritage." And that really affected me because I really always admired my Mormon pioneer ancestors. And now, as I look at what I'm doing, I genuinely feel like I'm a pioneer for my family and my future
Mm-hmm.
generations. This has
Yeah.
been so terrifying. This journey is fucking scary. It is so scary
Beautiful.
to leave a religion with your children because you feel like that's the right thing to do. But what I'm trying to do and what we are doing is not allowing trauma to carry forward into the next generation, or at least minimizing as much as we can. And a huge part of that for me, healing the next generation, my own children, is going to them after I've realized all of my past and the things that I did not understand. I mean, I used to be just a full-on shame parenter, just a shame parenter, you know, it's just like, that is not appropriate, da, 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 like just a completely different kind of parent. And so now I feel like what has been extremely healing for me in this pioneer journey with my children and healing my children is to go back and to acknowledge and empathize with my children. You deserved a healthier mother. You deserved someone who understood these basic universal principles and empathy and, you know, respecting and honoring that these are separate souls on separate journeys from us, and that our
That
role is
don't
to
belong
guide
to
and
us.
support and encourage and love. And so a huge part of my healing has been going to each of my children individually and saying, I acknowledge everything I've put you through, and I'm so sorry, and I'm fucked up, and we're all fucked up, and we're just in this together, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's been just a real awakening in a humbling experience, like really getting down to the bare bones of who I am and wanting every single relationship of my life to be based on pure intentions and goodness and love and healing. I have fucked up so bad. I've made so many mistakes, you know, and I'm just so excited to be moving in a
Oh, yeah.
direction of healing and sharing that. I didn't feel strong enough to share these parts of myself when, you know, in the last 2 years, it's been a journey to get to the place where I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to share these things because it was so disorienting for me. You know, this is
Mm-hmm.
still all so new to me. I had never even been like camping or on a hike in Arizona, and we'd lived here for like 7 years. I was so disconnected to the earth, and you are such a huge part of me connecting back to the earth. The trees are so wonderful too, but you're right, we're so different. I go into different dimensions. It
Mm-hmm.
is so crazy, the things that I have experienced. And I need anchors on this
Mm-hmm.
plane. It is crazy. AJ is my literal anchor to this planet when I
Yeah.
go outside of my body and then have to reintegrate back into my body. He's my anchor, and you are another anchor, an earth
Yeah.
anchor for me, because the places I go are disorienting sometimes. It's
Yeah.
freaking crazy, but it's so exciting. It's so exciting, and I'm so
It's
grateful
so
to be on this
exciting
journey
because
with you.
how did we go from, I mean, if you put it in a nutshell, we went from like being very timid about like sharing what was going on with us to sending a text like, when can we talk? Because I got to tell you what the fuck happened this weekend.
What? Yeah.
Or sending the text like, oh my God, I just did this meditation. You need to try it. You need to do this one or follow this person, because it's so interesting because our energy is so different, but we have been able to cultivate this like beautiful union of sun and moon, earth and space, connection, this energy that is, you teach me so much. And then and this is, and because I'm still living a human experience, and I've told you this 1,000 times, when I hear about your journeys and the things that you're experiencing and the beings that are coming to you, and I'm just like, I'm right here. Come to me. But I know that that's not part of my journey, at least not yet. There's something there that has not opened up for me, where for me, whenever I go on my journeys, whenever I dig really deep, whether it's assisted or not, I am taken backwards into time, like
Right.
backwards into my lineage,
Lineage.
backwards into moments of just like, and it sounds scary, like a pure pain, like just to realize like this was real for you. What
Acknowledge.
did you say, Tanti? Oh, we'll talk about that on another live.
DMT.
Um, but only because I haven't experienced that yet. So
I have.
we'll
I'll talk
we'll
about
let
it.
Toby talk about that
I
on one
met
of our
some
other
real
lives.
cool beings on DMT.
Right. But I don't have what you would consider, and that's where we differ the most, is I don't have what society would consider a psychedelic experience, an outer body experience. I am always very grounded in my body through all of my experiences, almost statue-like, observing everything. And it is always Mother Nature, um, that comes, Mother Earth that comes to me and shows me. It's always through an animal or, an experience of um, pounding the dirt with you, the earth with your feet. Like it's just so incredibly different. So, like no matter how you turn it, we're on opposite sides of this,
Holding each other together, though.
yeah. But still so connected, like a pendulum. Like we're just each side, one side of the swing. I'm on this side, you're on this side, and we always meet right here. No matter what we're doing, we're always meeting. And the excitement of our experiences with no judgment or um like, what? That can't be real. Like you're nuts. Like it's just this reverence and this understanding that we're all going to be different. And watching our husbands go through this journey at their own pace, which we talked about a lot in the beginning, like, why aren't they joining us? Like, why can't they see
I'm
what
still
I
begging AJ
see?
to get on board with ayahuasca, but he's afraid of puking. So
Well, yeah, I mean, it's scary. A lot of people are, and once you're there, once you've experienced, you crave that, like, you crave that just like soul purge. Um, so grateful for that particular medicine, that particular energy, that teacher in our life, because I really do think that opened us up. It just cracked us wide open. No, I'm going to say it cracked us, because I think that we have so much more to experience in this lifetime. But it's so beautiful to see how we have changed so much. Um, the high school girl in me kind of thinks like, I bet all of my friends are like
Who
You
is this
know?
bitch from high
Yeah,
school?
like what? Like that girl used to get down at high school. Like she used to fight people. She was a little bit of a hoe. Um, like who is she now? Like all, oh, and I'm not. This is not who I am. I am still the person that will jump out of the car window to grab you by your neck if you disrespect the people that I love or put somebody in danger. I am still that person because I am still me. And I think
I
that's
just
the
know
biggest
to stay
thing
on
is
your good side.
I want, I just want to give the opportunity for people to see who we really are and how we haven't changed. I mean, we've changed because of spirituality, but we're still that person. We still have anger. We still have fights with our husband. We still have moments where we're like, get the fucking kids away from me. You know, we're not Buddha. We're not Gandhi. And even Buddha and Gandhi had those moments, but nobody wants to share any of the ugly stuff. Nobody wants to share the human experience. Everybody wants to share this like miraculous magic, and you can't have the magic without the other side of it. You can't have the white without the dark. Like you can't do it. And I
Two
think it's
sides of
so
the same
beautiful.
coin. So
Yeah, we are. We are. And it's so magical to see and to connect with somebody that I've loved for such a long time. You know, I think for me and you, it was instant. And I knew we were going to talk about like how people would even mistaken
oh
you for
yeah.
me and me for you, which is so incredibly funny to me because I am a midget and you're a tree.
Oh my
So,
God. I was so flattered that everyone thought I was you. Like, that's how I introduced myself to you, is like, hi, I just figure I should meet you because everyone thinks I
yeah.
am you.
And I was like, what? That
I
doesn't
had
make
long
any
hair
sense.
at the
'Cause,
time too.
yeah. But I was so tiny compared to, like, I'm still tiny. I'm short.
You're
I'm a
perfect.
short person. So it was just, and I realize now looking back that it was like that, you know, when you recognize somebody, but you don't know them, you're just like, God, I recognize that person.
Yep.
It was everybody around us recognizing
Totally a
our
connection.
soul connection that we hadn't, um, recognized yet, but it didn't take long. I mean, I think we were best friends from the moment we actually introduced
We
ourselves.
started
And
having Thursday morning coffee dates very
yep,
quickly. And it was like,
expressing our frustrations in motherhood, in our relationships, just being real and vulnerable with each other, which I think opened the door for us to get to this place of really acknowledging who we really truly are inside. And I've watched you transform over the last so many years, from being, you know, the girl that just left the church, which I didn't have a lot of experience with, you know, so I pulled my husband into that because he, you know, of his
he
background.
was so wonderful too. You guys both just came in at such an important time for AJ and I.
And that's again just synchronicity. That's the universe saying, like, this, that was the moment that you guys were supposed to be in each other's lives. And I think that we will be in each other's lives in this life and every other life that comes about. Um, your angels and guides take you back to heal old energies to improve or take you where you need to be.
This
Absolutely.
is true. That is so true.
That is very, very true. By the way, Sean, I found a picture of you in my, so Sean, I went to high school with Sean.
Oh,
I was
nice.
looking for pictures yesterday, and this is totally off subject, but I love synchronicities in this universe.
Yes.
I was looking through all my old pictures. I have a tub of pictures for my teenage dirtbag video
Oh,
because
yeah. That was
I love
great. I
social
loved
media.
that.
And I found a picture of Sean at a party that we were at, and he's always been like into the DJ and music and stuff. But I like looked at it and I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh, I should send this to him, like take a picture and send it, and I didn't do it.
And here he
So
is.
I love that universe has brought him onto our live
Now we
to
need
share
to
his
post the
knowledge.
picture so everyone can see Sean
I know, and tag
at a
him.
party.
But we were, you know, I've always been into the music scene and not as like a DJ or anything, but like I was a raver. Like I've always been connected to deep soul music, like stuff that's just making your body vibrate. Oh, I'm doing it, Sean. I'm going to post the picture. But it's just this beautiful synchronicity of the world and where we're at now. And if we really look back, we can see why things happen, how things happen, and why we're in this moment, and why me and you have come to a place after a really simple conversation of feeling inadequate in our spirituality because meditation has gotten so hard for us. And then realizing that everything can be a form of meditation, you know, everything that we do, whether it's just sitting there and really like doing the quiet your mind. There's multiple ways to quiet your mind. For me, it's been going laying every afternoon when the kids are in bed or right before they go to bed, laying in my hammock and looking at the stars and just looking, or planting, getting my hands into the dirt, or teaching somebody something, or cooking for my beautiful friends that come visit me that don't ever want me to cook for them. So
Your
I have to
cooking
force
is
it.
so good. I'll make the trip just for it.
So it's just it's a beautiful life that we're gifted with here, and the opportunity that we have to use the technology that has been brought about over so many years to connect to more souls, to connect more people with their soul families, to connect more people with with themselves. Honestly, I think that's what it comes down to connect more people
Absolutely.
with themselves.
I think my deepest desire with all of this, putting myself completely out of my comfort zone to be broadcast, is simply to help. I just want
Yeah.
to help, you know, and I'm
Yep.
so grateful. As you know, we're a little over an hour. I just want to say before we go
Yeah.
that I honor you, Ingrid. You are so wonderful. And the time in my life that you came into it was so lonely. It was really
You're
lonely.
gonna make me cry.
Sorry, I'm an emotional bitch.
I
But
know.
leaving religion and leaving a marriage all at once, and dealing with the the backlash of that in all of my relationships, it was an extremely lonely and isolated time for me. And you were an angel sent to me, and you have been since day one, and I'm so grateful. Like, there has never been one time, and I don't have a lot of female friends, to be honest. I do now. I'm gaining more female friends, but this is new for me. I've always been more comfortable with male people, and you have really opened me up to being more open with other women and friendship and sisterhood. And it's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful. You have always created a safe space. Never once have made me feel lesser, never once have made me feel judged or unsafe or anything negative. And for that, I honor you and I thank you. And whatever comes of this, we got each other.
We do. And I will reiterate that statement with saying that if you guys don't know Tobi yet, you need to get to know her, because if you ever want to just feel at home and 100% like yourself, Tobi is that place. Like, you have always been that place for me, no matter. Now you're going to make me cry. And I swore I wasn't going to cry. I've always been able to just be around you. Like, you've always just loved me for exactly who I am, no matter who I am at the time. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what I've gotten myself into, no matter what new adventure I want to try, like, you have always been a female in my life that I know I don't have to call all the time and feel pressure. That I know that when we do connect, it's a real connection. There's no fakeness. And the best thing about you that I love is that we are so incredibly different. We're so incredibly different. And we have found this like home with each other that I truly do believe can heal the world, because we are so different. I mean, down to, physicality, our culture, our upbringing, even some of our beliefs are so incredibly different, but we found home in each other. And I think that expression of love that I have learned from you, the way that you parent your children, the the unconditional love that you give to everybody around you. And then in the last couple of years, watching you put boundaries up and being okay in that solitude has taught me so much. And I will never be able to repay you for just the simple love that I get from you. So I always feel like I have to pay that love back, the blessing that you have given me in this lifetime, and the things that you're opening up for me. Because just like you feel like I was there for you in a moment where you really needed somebody, you have always physically shown up in my life when I was about to make the worst decision of my life. You have always been able to show me the other person with your words, and say, look at this person. This is what you need to see. And I will say it, and Brian, don't kill me for saying it, but like, you've saved my marriage over and over just by letting me talk and understanding how I feel and giving me the perspective of the other side, because I am very masculine energy. I'm very intense. I'm very my way or no way. And you have helped me to soften that part of who I am by just being you. So my little starseed that will forever be in my life, shining light. You are that person for me, always.
I'm so grateful for you, Iggy. Thank you. I'm so excited to be on
I
this
know.
journey with you. We
All
did
right,
it the first time.
We did it. Number 1 video has been done.
Now, right?
Yep, we can do it. We just get on here and talk to each other. Like, who gives a shit who watches? And if you have an opinion, share it.
I'm sweating like crazy. I need to turn my air on. I'm like wiping sweat off of myself.
Oh no! Well, you look like a goddess.
My armpits so they don't sweat so much.
You're a goddess, and I love it. So, all right, let's end it there, and you guys will catch us soon. We'll make an announcement of everything, and I love you.
And follow me on TikTok, please.
Yes,
what's my name?
You guys.
Mama.Tobes.
So it's MAMA.Tobes, TOBES, right?
Yeah, that's it.
On TikTok, we need to get Toby to 1,000 followers.
I'm not good at social media.
We absolutely need to get her there. So if you guys follow me on TikTok, find her. I posted a video. She's tagged in it. Follow her. Tell your friends to follow her. I don't care if you guys follow us for just a week, just to get us where we need to go, so we can go
then
on live on TikTok. But that is our goal right now. So everybody that is on here, everybody on our Instagrams and our Facebooks, we are just humbly asking for your help to get Toby's TikTok account where we need it, so that we can share this journey with everybody. So, and I'll shout you out or whatever. I don't know. What do you do for social media? Like, oh my gosh, we'll totally tag you guys. I don't know.
Just we'll send you lots of Reiki love. That is for sure.
Sean, I will look at what Twitch is. But anyways, we're going to end this here. Look for our next live. We're going to be subject-based. We're going to talk about different experiences, from ayahuasca to Cambo to, I don't know, Toby meditation.
Yeah,
all
this
kinds
was
of
more
things.
like an introduction, but
Yeah.
but the next coming episodes, we have like very specific topics, and it's going to be really exciting to just break it down. If we go off on tangents, that's great. We'll just keep it super organic, but I think I'm just so excited to really deep dive into very specific things.
Subjects, yep.
Yeah, so yay!
All right, you guys, yay! Everybody have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Look for the signs. The universe is always there. And
10:44.
Of course it is. It's 11:44 here, so I am going to hit the goodbye button. Okay, bye.
Love you.
Love you.